Yeah, so I kind of made two different like color comps. This one I didn't even finish working on. I'm probably gonna finish like doing this one and make it a separate picture because I actually like how that looks. But first I did a flat color, and then I was doing this one because I want to play around with color. Yeah, I wanted to do a low exposure kind of color scheme, but I'm probably gonna have a kind of hard time getting the effect that I want. So I'm gonna I'm not even in Krita right now. In my browser, searching for low exposure aesthetic. Low exposure aesthetic will probably give me what I'm looking for, and if not that, then probably filter. I want like a low exposure, high saturation type of look, because that's how I really like editing photos sometimes. Feeling a less saturated background would probably be better for this. It's gonna be skin slash base. That doesn't work anymore. I used to be able to put a layer into a group by just hovering it over, but it doesn't let me do that anymore. Okay, that's fine. Crona is pretty pale, so I'm going to adjust this. Okay, I'm just gonna try and scribble down colors. I'm starting to wonder if this is even a good background to use. Maybe I should use something cooler. Kind of like how the blue looks, but also kind of like how this color right here looks. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't 100% sure what I was doing here. I didn't have a clear direction, so I'm just playing around with like different colors and seeing which one stands out to me and is just the most visually appealing. I also add in the more blush parts, and what I like to do is you'll see a pop-up palette over here, and there's the two circles on the side for the background and foreground colors, and I like to place it so that they appear over the skin so that I can compare the color that I'm choosing as I'm sliding over the wheel to how it looks on the skin. So that is kind of a helpful tip. For the look that I'm going for, I did make their skin more desaturated, and the blush parts are a bit brighter and they have a higher chroma. I use the lasso tool to select where I want to put the highlights, and I'm using a cyan color to kind of glaze over the colors, so you could still kind of see the base tones underneath, and you know, the colors just kind of work and merge together nicely that way. And now I'm proceeding to add something that's called a terminator. It tends to be darker in value and higher in saturation or chroma, and it is placed in between the light and the shadow area. Since I want my light area to have a hard edge, I create a hard edge between the highlight and the terminator, and then the terminator gradates into the shadow area of the skin. I'm gonna stop working on the skin for now, and now just the hair color. I don't know what color to choose at all for the whites of the eyes. I'm just gonna start off with a random one and then see what to do from there. This is obviously way too bright. So in a second, we're gonna see the footage freeze. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, this is where it looked fine, and then it went to shit. So I completely cut out that footage. I do end up changing the eyes a few times in the video though. I think I did like 3 different versions total, and the final ones obviously look okay because that's what I end up staying with. But here I'm deciding how I'm gonna put the highlight on the hair. End up going with something very different than what I'm attempting here, because I wanted it to look kind of cool and graphic and have bold colors, but I just was not sure how to approach it. Since I felt like nothing that I was doing really looked good, I decided to take a different approach for doing the highlights. So first I start to fill in the hair with that cyan color so I can see what I'm doing, and now I'm erasing to kind of chop away at the color and create the shape of the highlight. And here I'm using this brush by Rakurri, I think it's pronounced, I'm not sure, but I should put a link to the brush pack in the description. So if you want to have that brush pack to use in Krita, there are a few other cool brushes in there. It's a pretty nice brush pack. So yeah, I just adjust the color of the highlight. I up the saturation, lower the or up the lightness, and here I'm just playing around with different blending modes. Here I'm just chopping away a bit more at the highlight, and then I go in with this smudging tool to kind of bring out the little points a bit more so they come out more, and it softens them a bit at the end too. I really like this smudge brush. It's called Blender Smear, and it comes in Krita. Now at this point I start using a brush called Screen Tones Regular, and I'm using different colors and adding them on top of different areas of the highlight that I added to kind of add to the graphic look of it. And at this point I actually did kind of forget that the highlights layer was on a certain blending mode, so there were some parts where I kept trying to add colors and it didn't look right, and that was why, which I do figure out eventually, but it does kind of add a bit of a visual interest to the highlights, which I really like. At this point I start to go back in with the smudging brush and further shape the highlight a bit more. And now I'm duplicating the layer and adding something called diagonal blur, I'm pretty sure, and this will create a kind of soft glowiness to it. Every petal, poppy clover, good with the fact that least exposure. Anything for a second or mid-dollar. I do anything for a second or mid-dollar. Love is changing.